Thank you, divine universe. 3. Miraculous secrets for manifesting abundance, success, and supernatural joy. The sun broke through the clouds, casting radiant beams upon the quaint village of Stonemere, yet Anna's heart felt like it was stuck in a tempest. A devoted single mother, she had lost her job just when the tides of life seemed to swell against her. With each bill that landed like a stone on her doorstep, despair crept in, heavy and relentless. It was then she found herself drawn to the comforting walls of the local church, where prayers floated up like fragrant incense, weaving the hearts of the community together. In those dimly lit corners filled with stories of miracles, Anna recalled the tales of old, the parables that danced through her mind like flickering candles on the altar. Each story glowed with the hope of divine intervention, feeding her weary spirit with the promise that Saint Joseph, the saint of labor and provision, was her ally. She began a daily prayer ritual, invoking his name and surrendering her troubles, hoping for a flicker of the abundance she desperately sought. But just as the warmth of faith began to cradle her heart, life unleashed a torrent of difficulties. Unexpected bills poured in like rain, soaking her already strained finances, and her precious daughter fell ill, her tiny body weakened by a relentless fever. It was as if weight upon weight had piled on her shoulders, testing the very limits of her faith. Yet the townsfolk rallied around her, their sincerity palpable as they formed a circle of prayer, their voices mingling in impassioned cries to the heavens. They believed in miracles, sharing stories of their own experiences that stirred hope within Anna's faltering heart. But as gratitude washed over her, doubts formed dark clouds, asking if her cries held any merit in the grand cosmos. Did her pleas matter to the divine? Overwhelmed and burning out, Anna fought her battles with sheer will. She spent her days searching for any opportunity, while each night she prayed with silenced breath, desperate for a hint of resolution. Then, a message from her church arrived, announcing a healing service, a sacred gathering where testimonies of miracles unfolded like petals, each blooming with divine promise. Fueled by courage and a flicker of renewed faith, Anna stood before the congregation, trembling, yet determined. With tears welling in her eyes, she shared her struggles, her voice shaky but resolute, pleading fervently for God's intervention. It was a moment suspended in time, pregnant with expectancy and spiritual impact. And just as faith intermingled with doubt, her phone rang with a glimmer of hope, a job opportunity. At that very moment, a warm surge of relief washed over her as her daughter's fever began to break, each breath sweetening the air. As whispers of joy filled the church, Anna sensed the divine threads of her life weaving together, revealing an unfathomable miracle unfurling in real time. Yet, as the village thrummed with celebration, an unresolved tension tightened around her heart. Was this a true answer to her prayers, or a glimpse into a greater purpose behind her trials? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she stood surrounded by vibrant voices and joyous faces, the question loomed large in her spirit. How many more miracles awaited her, cloaked in the gentle whispers of faith she had begun to trust? In that bubbling anticipation, Anna felt hope's pulse quickening within her, a promise that her journey was only beginning, and the revelation of divine purpose lay just beyond the horizon, waiting for her to walk in faith. The air buzzed with excitement as the chatter of the congregation mingled with the melodic strains of a hymn lifting toward the heavens. Anna found herself swept up in the joy of the moment, but beneath the surface, her heart was still quietly wrestling with questions that lingered like shadows. Was this breakthrough a sign of her prayers being heard, or merely a fleeting moment of relief in a life shadowed by storms. The service ended, but Anna remained, her eyes fixed on the flickering candles before the altar. Each flame beckoned to her, a small reminder of hope. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply, allowing the warmth of the sanctuary to envelop her. In that sacred stillness, she resolved to dive deeper into her relationship with the divine. Saint Joseph had become more than just a saint to her. He was a companion in her struggles, and the dawn of a new approach sparked within her spirit. Instead of seeing him merely as a beacon for her desires, she began to view him as a partner in her journey. What if there was a purpose behind each trial she faced? What if, instead of resisting the pressures of her life, she embraced them as opportunities to grow in faith? Days slipped into nights, and Anna poured her heart into prayer, with gratitude replacing her earlier despair. Each evening, as she tucked her daughter into bed, she whispered sweet prayers about hope, healing, and abundance. She marveled at how her daughter's laughter began to shine brighter, dispelling some of the clouds that had settled over them both. It felt as if a divine presence was at work, transforming not only her circumstances, but also her understanding of her own resilience. Yet, as Anna's faith deepened, a new challenge emerged. The job offer she'd received didn't materialize as she'd hoped. The position was filled while she was still in the early stages of consideration. A wave of disappointment swept over her, crashing against the newfound serenity she'd been feeling. It felt like a cruel twist, as if the universe had toyed with her hopes. In the quiet of her living room, she picked up a journal she had once filled with prayers and dreams, and in that stillness, she began to write again. This time, her words flowed like a river, notes of gratitude for small blessings, reflections on the love of community she had felt, and affirmations of faith that even if the job hadn't been hers, it still didn't erase her value or her worthiness of abundance. With each word, she sensed a shift in her spirit. It was as if the very act of writing brought clarity that had been obscured in her recent turmoil. Anna realized then that miracles could arrive disguised in unexpected forms. Sometimes, the bounty of life manifests not in what we receive, but in the strength we gain through waiting and enduring. But as she closed her journal one night, a sudden stirring disrupted her tranquil space. A voice as soft as a whisper broke through her thoughts. Trust in the unfolding. What did that truly mean? How could she trust in something that felt so far from her grasp? With her heart racing, Anna sensed the universe beckoning her to delve deeper. What would it take to truly let go of her expectations and embrace the unknown with faith? She could feel the anticipation building in her soul, a bolt of divine energy coursing through her. The journey was still far from over, and the question remained: what awaited her just beyond the horizon of trust and surrender? The days passed, each forming a thread in the complex tapestry of Anna's life. With each sunrise, a gentle reminder of renewal whispered to her. Life is a series of cycles. She began to embrace the rhythm, learning to dance between hope and uncertainty. The mornings started to unfurl beautifully, as Anna found solace not just in prayer, but also in nature. During early walks, she breathed in the crisp air, each inhale a sacred act of gratitude. The sun painted the sky in hues of gold and orange, casting a shimmering light upon her path. In those moments, she felt a gentle nudge from the divine, as if nature itself was affirming there was untouched beauty in her struggles. Yet on some days, doubt crept in like an unwelcome shadow. After all, waiting can feel heavy. On one gray afternoon, while watching her daughter play with a few colorful toy blocks, Anna's heart became heavy. "What are we to do next, Lord?" she felt compelled to ask, staring blankly ahead. Silence draped itself around her, amplifying the weight of her unspoken worries. And in the depths of that silence, a soft realization began to stir. Growth often flourishes in moments of surrender. Trust, like a fragile seed, needed nurturing. Maybe, just maybe, it was okay not to know all the answers yet. It was a concept that felt distant, but her heart began to open to it. Determined, she reached deep into her thoughts, pondering the voice from the previous night. Trust in the unfolding. What might that truly entail? To her, it represented an invitation to release control over her expectations and simply allow life to flow. She pictured a stream, winding and flowing, adapting to the paths it encountered. One evening, seated at the kitchen table, Anna picked up her journal again. This time, she didn't just pen down thoughts, but painted visions, vivid images of each desire she held, now rippling out to the universe. She visualized her daughter beaming with joy, the warmth of a loving community, and the flourishing of her own dreams. With each stroke of her pen, her faith anchored deeply, grounding itself like a mighty oak reaching for the sky. "Thank you, divine universe," she wrote, "for guiding me through uncertainty, for every blessing I cannot yet see." The weight of her worries began to lift, replaced by pockets of lightness and grace. She put the journal aside, and for the first time in a while, she felt the stirrings of excitement and peace. Perhaps the unfolding would bring something even greater than her mind could grasp, something magnificent anchored in faith. The sun dipped low, painting the sky a canvas of soft purples and flaming reds. Anna paused to breathe, captivated by the beauty above her. At that moment, a small, cherished thought emerged. What if the unexpected could turn into the miraculous? As Anna gazed at the silhouettes of trees against the twilight sky, she closed her eyes and whispered a prayer of openness. "What miraculous surprises await me, Lord? What new paths will you reveal?" She felt again the pulse of divine energy, reminding her that journeys often begin with a single step into the unknown, a leap of faith. Anticipation quivered in her spirit, awakening a yes from the deepest parts of her, an embrace of mystery. And just as that thought settled in, a gentle knock echoed through her heart. It was a reminder from the divine that the next chapter was waiting. What would it reveal? What miracles would unfold as she walked the path before her? The mystery called to her, a beautiful promise lingering in the air. As dawn broke the next morning, Anna felt an electrifying energy in the air. The sun's rays filtered through her window, casting a warm glow that enveloped her like a soft embrace. It was as if the world outside was confirming her prayers from the night before. She opened her eyes with an eager heart, yearning to see what the day would unfold. Sitting up, Anna breathed deeply, welcoming the morning's fresh possibilities. With her daughter still asleep, she found a quiet moment to connect once again with the divine. She clasped her hands together and whispered, "Thank you for this day ahead. Show me the miracles you have in store." Once more, she ventured outside, the grass cool beneath her feet. She walked slowly, absorbing the sights and sounds of nature awakening. Birds chirped brightly, singing praises that echoed her own soul. A soft breeze drifted by, tickling her cheeks, and in that moment, Anna felt a profound sense of companionship with the universe. It was alive, vibrant, and bursting with secrets waiting to be discovered. On her walk, Anna encountered a neighborhood friend, an elderly neighbor named Mrs. Thompson, who sat on her porch, wrapped in a shawl. "Good morning, Anna. Isn't it a beautiful day?" she called out, her voice sparking joy in Anna's heart. "Oh, it truly is," Anna replied, her smile wide and genuine. They exchanged pleasantries, and as their conversation deepened, Anna found herself sharing her recent revelations about trust and the unfolding journey. Mrs. Thompson listened intently. "You know, dear, sometimes the most unexpected paths lead us to treasures we never imagined, just like the seeds in my garden. I plant them and wait, unsure of what will sprout. But oh, Anna, when the flowers bloom, it's pure magic." Inspired by Mrs. Thompson's words, Anna returned home with renewed clarity. That conversation had provided her with a sacred spark, igniting a question in her heart. What treasures lay hidden along the path ahead? She could almost hear the whisper of destiny guiding her onward. When she settled back at her kitchen table, her journal in hand, Anna reflected on her neighbor's wisdom. She began to pen down her thoughts, not with just hopes, but also with an active intent. God, I am ready to receive your miracles. I am open to the beauty you will reveal, the gifts I cannot foresee. The next hours passed as she carefully envisioned the life she desired, seeing it in vivid color, laughter filling the air, her daughter surrounded by friends, and love wrapping around them like a warm blanket. Each moment she envisioned felt like a prayer soaring into the heavens, collecting light and pulling forth the goodness only the divine could orchestrate. As afternoon approached, Anna stood at her kitchen window, observing the world outside. Children playing in the distance, neighbors exchanging kind words, all woven together in the fabric of community. She realized she had everything she needed to manifest her desires: faith, vision, and the beauty of connection. Suddenly, her daughter's laughter echoed from the living room, a joyous sound that filled Anna's heart. She turned and walked toward her girl, a sense of urgency rising within her spirit. Yes, her dreams were taking shape, just like the flowers in Mrs. Thompson's garden. Wasn't this all part of the unfolding? In that very moment, a knock came at her front door, a sound that sent a charge of anticipation through her. Who could it be? What new path lay on the other side? As Anna opened the door, her heart raced with excitement. Was this the beginning of something extraordinary, or a simple encounter that could shift the course of her journey? The universe was calling, her spirit alive with wonder as she stepped into the unknown. What lay waiting at her door? What miracle was about to unfold? Anna opened the door slowly, her heart fluttering like a songbird. The sunlight haloed a figure standing on her porch, an unexpected visitor. It was a man dressed in a simple but radiant manner, his eyes bright with a warmth that felt almost otherworldly. He held a small package wrapped in a deep violet cloth, tied with a golden string that shimmered in the daylight. "Good afternoon. I hope I'm not interrupting," he said with a gentle smile. "I have something for you." "For me?" Anna was taken aback. "Who are you?" "My name is Elijah," he replied with an air of calm confidence. "I come from a place of light and purpose. This gift is meant for those who are ready to embrace their dreams." Her breath caught in her throat. The weight of his words hung in the air, as if the universe itself had whispered them into existence. She hesitated, her curiosity mingling with skepticism. Yet, deep down, a sense of longing stirred within her. She had been opening herself to new avenues of grace, hadn't she? "What is it?" Anna asked, her voice trembling with a mixture of anticipation and doubt. Elijah stepped forward, carefully handing her the package. "Inside is a reminder of your power, Anna, a catalyst for the miracles that await you. I encourage you to open it when you find a quiet moment in your heart." With trembling fingers, Anna took the package. Elijah's gaze seemed to pierce through her pretense, seeing deeper into her faith and despair alike. "Remember," he said softly, "the path to abundance is often revealed in simple moments. Stay open and grateful, and you shall see." With that, he turned and walked down her steps, disappearing around the corner as quickly as he had appeared. A gentle breeze brushed past her, and Anna closed the door, clutching the package to her chest. Her mind raced with possibilities. What was this gift? She walked to her living room, where laughter still danced around her like a sweet melody. Her daughter was busy coloring, her little face alive with joy. In that moment, a thought sparked. Was this gift connected to her daughter's laughter? Anna placed the package on the table and sat down next to her girl, watching her with a heart full of gratitude. As they colored together, Anna's imagination roamed wild spaces, considering the fullness of her life and the gifts she held dear. Each colorful stroke reminded her of Mrs. Thompson's garden, filled with promise and the magic of growth. The hours passed, and the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. The world seemed to soften into an embrace as she felt the weight of the day settle. Her heart whispered it was time. Finally alone, she returned to the package. With bated breath, she untied the golden string and opened the violet cloth. Inside lay a small, intricately carved stone that shimmered with an unexplainable light. As she held it, warmth surged through her, a gentle pulse connecting her to the divine. "What is this?" she murmured, her spirit ignited with wonder. In that moment, she recalled Elijah's words about staying open and grateful. She realized this stone was not just an object, it was a promise, a divine invitation to trust in the beauty unfolding around her. With hope flooding her heart, Anna closed her eyes and held the stone close, surrendering to this journey of faith. But what did that really mean? What steps would she take next? As she held it, she sensed a stirring deep within her, a calling waiting to be answered. What adventures lay ahead now that she possessed this gift? What more would this stone reveal as she journeyed forth in faith? As Anna cradled the stone in her hand, she felt a shift within her, like a tide turning. A soft glow enveloped the room, filling her with an inexplicable warmth. Her heart, once hesitant, now beat in a rhythm harmonizing with the divine whisper she felt all around her. It was as if the air had thickened with promise. She opened her eyes, looking around her modest living room, the walls adorned with photographs full of smiles, laughter, and love. Each picture told a story, a fragment of her life that resonated with the beauty of connection. Yet, the stone in her palm beckoned her to look deeper, to peer beyond the surface of her everyday existence. "What do you want from me?" she whispered to the stone. It remained silent, but felt alive, pulsing gently in her grasp. Anna cleared her mind and breathed deeply, centering herself in the moment. She thought of Elijah's words, "Stay open and grateful." Without thinking, she moved to the window, letting the fading light wash over her. The world outside was calming, shades of purple and blue blending softly in a farewell to the sun. She closed her eyes again, allowing herself to feel the energies around her, a balance of nature's tranquility and the hum of everyday life. A sudden thought struck her, as clear as the dusk sky. It was about the dreams she once held close, dreams buried beneath obligations and fear. A spark ignited within. This stone could be a reminder of those long-forgotten desires. She remembered her days as a girl, painting with wild abandon, her brush sweeping colors across canvas like a river of dreams. Those dreams had been swallowed up by responsibilities, caring for her daughter, paying the bills, and merely trying to stay afloat in the daily grind. But what if this gift was the key to reigniting that passion? Anna took a deep breath, and a wave of courage surged through her. "What if I could paint again?" she ventured aloud. "What if I could create something beautiful that expresses my soul?" With each breath, visions danced in her mind. She imagined her daughter helping her, side by side, creating a mural that told their story. Laughter, colors, and love, the very essence of their lives, spilled onto the walls of their home. A sanctuary of expression. Suddenly the room filled with echoes of her daughter's laughter, and Anna could almost see those colors manifesting before her. Perhaps this was what the stone urged her to retrieve, a forgotten piece of her heart. Her heart swelled with joy. She wanted to dive into that dream, to breathe life into it once more. And yet, a flicker of doubt still lingered. Could she really do it? The question loomed, mingling excitement with fear. "Step forward, Anna." The voice in her heart seemed to echo softly, urging her to embrace what lay ahead. Faith is the bridge from the impossible to the possible. Suddenly, all at once, she felt the universe shift. A gust of wind swept through the window, rustling the leaves outside, affirming her thoughts. Holding the stone tightly, she made a decision. "I'll create again. I'll paint the dreams back into my life." In that moment, Anna felt liberated, a soul unshackled, ready to embrace the unfolding journey before her. It wouldn't be easy, but something deep within her whispered that miracles awaited those who dared to believe. With newfound promise pulsating in her chest, Anna realized her adventure had just begun. As she looked toward the horizon beyond her window, the stars twinkled like aspirations waiting to be grasped. What treasures would this stone help her uncover? What transformations would emerge as she stepped boldly into the landscape of her dreams? Anna gazed out at the horizon, her heart still racing with newfound purpose. The stone hummed softly in her hand, a warm anchor in this moment of clarity. She squeezed it, feeling its energy course through her. What had once felt so buried now bubbled up with the promise of rebirth. Every great journey starts with a single step, she murmured to herself. What is my first step? Holding the stone close, she shut her eyes once more, letting visions flood her mind. The laughter of her daughter echoed, bright and joyous. They would create, together. With purpose aflame in her spirit, Anna retrieved a canvas from her closet. The texture felt foreign, yet exhilarating. The prospect of paintbrush in hand excited her like a child preparing for their first day of school. She found some old brushes and a pack of paints she had kept for years. Dusting them off, she could almost feel the spirits of creativity swirl around her, eager for expression. "Let's do this," she said, taking a deep breath. As the first stroke of paint touched the canvas, Anna felt a rush of emotion. It wasn't just about colors blending together. It was about reclaiming a fragment of her past, about manifesting hope into something tangible. She immersed herself in the process, each color a piece of her heart. Hours slipped away as vibrant hues came to life. Reds of passion, blues of peace, and yellows of joy flowed in harmony, forming a beautiful depiction of their lives, a garden they had nurtured together. Each brushstroke filled the room with warmth, becoming an offering of love. But just as quickly as her joy surged, doubt crept back in. "What if I'm not good enough?" she whispered, her hand hesitating above the canvas. As if sensing her turmoil, the stone glowed brighter, filling the room with a golden light. In that moment, Anna remembered Elijah's words. Faith is the bridge from the impossible to the possible. She took another deep breath and painted a cascade of stars over the garden, a symbol of dreams, desires, and endless possibilities. With every stroke, she found her fears becoming lighter. The paint transformed into an extension of her soul, melding with the very essence of who she was. No longer was she just a mother or a caretaker. She was an artist, a creator, a vessel for divine expression. Outside, the night deepened. The sky stretched vast and untouched, dotted with stars that twinkled like whispers of encouragement. Anna stepped back to admire her work. It wasn't merely a painting, it was proof she was on the right path. A sudden breeze rustled the curtains, and in that tender rustling, something deeper resonated, a subtle message that all was aligned in the universe. "Thank you, divine universe," she started to say, her voice trembling with gratitude. "Thank you for reminding me of my dreams." But even as she spoke, the lingering doubt still nipped at her heels. How would she continue this journey? What if she failed again? That night, as she drifted off to sleep, her mind danced with colors and visions. Images of her daughter at her side, creating as they once did, filled her dreams. "Tomorrow," she thought, "I will paint some more." In her heart, she felt a profound shift. This wasn't just about art. This was about rediscovering herself, about stepping into a fuller version of who she was meant to be. Little did Anna know, tomorrow would present unexpected challenges that would test her courage like never before. What would she encounter when she emerged from her cocoon of creativity? What lessons awaited her at the dawn of a new day? The morning sun peeked through Anna's window, filling her room with a soft golden hue. She blinked awake, the warmth of the sunlight wrapping around her like a loving embrace. The painting from last night still pulsed in her memory, a vivid reminder of her newly embraced purpose. With a heart full of anticipation, she rose and hurried to the canvas. The soft sounds of morning flowed in, birds chirping, leaves rustling in the gentle breeze outside. Anna stood before her work, her eyes sparkling. It felt like a masterpiece, alive with emotion and possibility. "Today is my day," she whispered to herself, excitement bubbling inside her. Dressed in her simplest clothes, she placed a pot of water on the stove to boil, the mundane action grounding her. Yet the air was thicker with expectation. She could almost hear her daughter's laughter echoing, urging her forward. As she waited for the water, Anna drummed her fingers along the table, thoughts racing. How would she show this painting to the world? Would anyone appreciate the treasure she had created? The doubts wrapped around her like a thick fog. But recalling the stone's warmth from the night before, she felt a flicker of resolve. "Faith is my ally," she reminded herself, her voice firm now. "Whatever comes, I will embrace it." The boiling water snapped her back to reality. She prepared her tea, each ritual a gentle meditation, as she considered the relationship between art, love, and courage. Sipping lingering warmth, Anna felt motivated. She remembered Elijah mentioning a local art fair happening next weekend. "Is this a sign?" she mused. "Could I possibly share my work there?" Her mind raced with excitement. The thought ignited her spirit. This was her first opportunity to step into the world she longed to embrace. With newfound determination, Anna gathered her supplies. She called to mind the stars she painted last night, remembering they represented her dreams and aspirations. As she began working again, each brushstroke felt like a whisper of encouragement mingled with her own heartbeat. Suddenly, a knock shattered her focus. Heart fluttering, she approached the door and opened it to find Mrs. Perkins, her elderly neighbor. A kind smile graced the woman's face, but Anna noticed the slight tremor in her hands. "Hello, dear. I hope I'm not disturbing you," she said, her voice warm yet weary. "I wanted to bring you some freshly baked bread, as a thank you for helping me with my garden last week." "Mrs. Perkins, how lovely of you," Anna beamed, inviting her in. The aroma of the bread filled the room with a comforting scent. As they shared a cup of tea together, Anna felt a deep connection grow. The conversation shifted to art and creativity, and Mrs. Perkins spoke of her late husband, an artist who had inspired her for years. "He always used to say, 'Art reveals what the heart cannot express,'" the elderly woman said, with tears glimmering in her eyes. Anna's heart reawakened with warmth. "That's beautiful," she replied, her spirits soaring once more. Their conversation flowed like the colors on the canvas, full, rich, and expansive. Mrs. Perkins was genuinely interested in Anna's painting. Suddenly, a beautiful revelation washed over her. Here was an unexpected lesson. Sharing her journey also meant connecting with others, alighting sparks of inspiration and hope in their hearts. As the sun reached high noon, Anna realized this brewing friendship was a lesson in faith itself. Yet, a question lingered in her heart. Would she truly gather the courage to showcase her painting? And would it resonate with others as much as it did with her? Tomorrow, she would face these fears head-on, nurturing not just her art, but her relationships. But first, she needed to prepare. What would that discovery mean on this path of divinely guided creativity? The next morning dawned clear and bright, the sun spilling light into Anna's studio, bringing with it a sense of renewed hope. Today, she felt ready. Each stroke of her brush was like a prayer, deliberate and filled with intent. Her canvas transformed under her steady hand, colors dancing and mingling, as if they were alive with the very essence of her spirit. Anna paused, stepping back to admire her work. The painting pulsated with vibrant hues, a testament to her passion. She could feel the heartbeat of her dreams radiating from the canvas, echoing the wide expanse of her aspirations. This moment felt sacred, like standing in the presence of something much larger than herself. Her heart raced with a blend of excitement and fear. "What if I truly allow others to see this?" she mused aloud. Each brushstroke seemed to whisper, "You can do this." The thought reassured her, wrapping her in warmth like a beloved blanket. Then, a rapping at the door yanked her from her reverie. She opened it to find Elijah, his usual exuberance brightened by an extra glimmer of anticipation. "Anna, I couldn't wait to see what you've created." His eyes sparkled with genuine enthusiasm. She stepped aside to welcome him in, her heart swelling at the idea of sharing her unveiling. "It's still a work in progress," she said, brushing a few errant paint flecks from her hands. But his encouragement stirred something within her, a calling to exhibit her work, not just to one but to many, to... Elijah's gaze traced the fresh colors on her canvas, and his smile widened, reflecting her emerging confidence. "It's magnificent. There's a radiant energy here. I can practically feel your spirit dancing." Anna beamed, his words serving as a balm for her lingering doubts. They discussed her plans for the art fair, the fear resuming its quiet whispering in the back of her mind. But as they spoke, she felt them dissipate like morning mist. Sharing her art had transformed into sharing her story, her hopes, her struggles, her healing. "Art can heal," Elijah added, studying her work with care. "It connects us. It can be the voice for those who feel unheard, expressing what they may be unable to say." His words resonated deeply in Anna's soul, awakening her desire to help others see the beauty in their own experiences. Suddenly, she felt a stirring within. A clarity washed over her like gentle waves. "I want to use my painting to tell a story, not just my own, but for others too." Elijah nodded, a knowing smile forming on his lips. "Then let it flow from your heart. Let it be a beacon of love and strength." Anna returned to her canvas, brush in hand, each movement deliberate and prayerful. It was as if a divine force guided her, colors mingling and blending into powerful symbols of resilience and faith. As the daylight slipped into a dreamy dusk, she caught her breath. "Tomorrow, I will step into the art fair unafraid," Anna declared, her resolve unyielding. But just as she seemed set to embrace her new path, an unsettling thought flickered in her mind. Would the world embrace her? What if her story didn't resonate at all? Yet in her heart, a small voice whispered, "Trust the journey." The mystery of this divine adventure stirred within her, inviting her to the edge of the unknown. What awaited her in this new chapter of her life, one where courage met vulnerability? Tomorrow held countless possibilities, and Anna felt an exhilarating anticipation for what the universe had in store. As dawn broke on the day of the art fair, Anna awoke with a blend of excitement and apprehension. The sun poured its warmth through her window, illuminating her canvas, a vivid tapestry of dreams, struggles, and triumphs. Today was not just about painting. It was an opportunity for her to step into her truth, bare her heart, and show the world her journey. She stood in front of the mirror, her reflection gazing back with determination. "You have the power," she whispered, summoning the inner strength she had been nurturing. Each brushstroke had infused her spirit with courage, but doubts still lingered, grasping at the edges of her faith. "God, guide me," she breathed, clutching the stone Elijah had given her. It warmed her palm, assuring her that this path was indeed divinely orchestrated. She envisioned her daughter, smiling bright and full of childlike wonder, beaming with pride. This was for her, a legacy of hope and resilience. At the fair, the vibrant atmosphere surrounded her. Colors and sounds swirled like a festival of life. Tables were adorned with art pieces, each exuding unique energies, each telling its own story. And there, in the midst of it all, stood Anna's painting, a piece that radiated her spirit. With trembling hands, she set her canvas on display, stepping back to observe her creation, a garden filled with blossoms of faith. The petals glistened with a love that mirrored her arduous journey, and she felt the presence of Saint Joseph wrapping around her like a shield. One by one, visitors began to drift by, their eyes caught by the allure of Anna's work. Soft murmurs of appreciation swept through the gathering. She saw people pause, their gazes lingering on her painting, a connection igniting in the air. "Wow, look at those colors," someone exclaimed. "There's such warmth here." With every compliment, Anna's heart soared a little higher. Encouragement from people she had never met seeped into her being, knitting together her hopes and fears. She began to engage with those who wandered close to her booth, sharing her story in reverent whispers, each word strengthening her resolve. "This is about finding beauty in our struggles," she told one mother, who teared up as she grasped the profound message behind the colors. But just as Anna started to feel anchored in her purpose, a shadow of doubt flickered in her mind. What if they don't get it? What if my story doesn't resonate at all? Her heart began to race, and she turned slightly away, searching for solace. But then she felt it again, the gentle breath of the divine. It enveloped her like the sun hitting her face after a storm. "You're not here alone," it seemed to whisper. A moment later, an elderly man approached her. His eyes sparkled with wisdom, and his gait was slow but steady. "May I take a look?" he asked, gesturing toward her painting. Anna nodded, brushing away doubts. As he examined her work, silence fluttered between them. After what felt like an eternity, he turned to Anna, his voice breaking with emotion. This brings back memories of my wife. She loved to paint gardens. This reminds me to live through the colors she left behind." Tears stung Anna's eyes, and in that moment, she understood. This was exactly what her journey was meant to do. It was meant to resonate with souls who needed a reminder of hope and love. Each person in front of her was a thread in the tapestry of faith they were weaving together. "Thank you," Anna replied, fighting back tears. "Your words mean the world to me." As the day wore on, people continued to gather around her booth, each sharing stories, connecting with her art, and offering their own heartfelt experiences. Anna felt a shift deep within her. It was as if the universe was affirming her path. Finally, as the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, she stood with her completed journey embodied in that painting, a physical manifestation of divine purpose. She realized that abundance wasn't merely about material wealth. It was about relationships, stories, and the bonds formed through shared experiences. As the crowd began to disperse, one last visitor approached her. It was Elijah. "You did it!" He beamed, as if he had known all along. "You shared your magic!" Anna grinned, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I finally understand. It's more than just about me. It's about everyone else who needs to believe in hope." Elijah nodded knowingly, and together they admired the fading light that sparkled above them, an echo of the day's revelations. They knew this was not just an ending, but a new beginning. Anna held the stone tightly in her palm, a reminder that miracles lay in embracing both the light and darkness. And in that space, she realized there was no need for fear or doubt anymore. Her faith had carved a path. The journey was just beginning. Now, as you witness Anna's transformation, take a moment to reflect on your own path. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that inspire and uplift. Leave a like now to nourish our community and feed this precious algorithm. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending and let your voice be heard. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope. This is the moment to show your support and let's connect in faith. Don't wait even one more second. You need to be a part of this divine journey.